Welcome to This Week in Colorado Soccer, another home edition. Before we introduce our special guest today, I have a little trivia for you. What do these professional soccer clubs have in common? Billingham, Synthonia, Notts County, Leyton Orient, Bury, Chester City, Blackpool, Millwall, Bolton Wanderers, Ipswich Town, Hull City, Bradford City, Grimsby Town, Sheffield United, and Colchester United. Well, if your answer is those are all clubs that Aidan Davison played for, you are correct. Aidan, thanks for joining the big show today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, for those of you who don't know, Aidan is a big supporter of CU soccer, CU women's soccer. The highlight of his coaching career, and we'll get to that in a second, was working CU soccer camp a few years ago and hanging out with the boys and spending an extra amount of time at the Dark Horse here in Boulder. So, you know, we know that you met our associate head coach, Jason Green, doing a coaching course. This might have been, 8-10 years ago at this point. And became friends, and we really like you because your agent gets us tickets whenever we go to England for matches, so we appreciate that. So Aidan, before we talk about your coaching career, talk a little bit about your playing career. You also had a few caps with the Northern Ireland national team, kind of your experiences in England and kind of the ups and downs you kind of went through.
Yeah, okay. Well, in a nutshell, I left school at 16 and went to Newcastle United as an apprentice. Did a year, got released, which a lot of kids do. You know, that's standard procedure. So then it's a case of bouncing back. So I actually had 2 years playing non-league soccer, which was an amazing experience. It taught me a lot about myself and obviously the physical side of the game. And then I got a break and signed pro in about 1987, I think, 6, 7, 8, Notts County, and then I went on from there and I played for 22 years. So I played in English Championship, Premier League, played international football, cup finals. So I was very fortunate, had a long career, and I retired at 40.
And then obviously right when you retired, it looks like you pretty much jumped right in with your good friend Phil Brown, who's obviously a very famous coach out in England, with Hull City. And obviously the U.S. fans have a little connection to Hull City at that time because our striker, Josie Altidore, was a young 19-year-old up-and-coming striker for that group. Talk about that experience with being an assistant in the Premier League that year with Josie and the squad.
Yeah, that was actually a very good year. Obviously challenging for myself because I was just beginning my coaching career, albeit I had 4 years at Colchester as a player coach. But this was my first real test as an outfield coach, and it was at the highest level, the Premier League. So it was a very steep learning curve. And we had some top players. I think we had about 15 full full internationals, all the way from the USA to Holland to Ghana, across the board. So you work with top players. Josie was a young boy at the time. He was 18, albeit he was developed like a man. But he was coming into a very, very good Premier League squad that had some really top players in there. So it was a good learning curve for me, and it's something that I always draw on when I'm working with pro players because that was invaluable for me working in the Premier League at that level.
Yeah, and it was an exciting time, and like most gentlemen from England, you got sick of the weather, and you decided you wanted to move to Florida, so you came out here, and I think that's probably when you met Jason in the coaching course and started coaching some, like what I guess the U.S. fans would be minor league soccer teams. But I do want to talk about one team in particular, the Sporting Arizona FC team. You used to practice at where I used to coach, Mesa Community College, and had a great run in the Open Cup, including beating the Phoenix Rising, who's arguably the top team in the USL, the second division behind the MLS and here. But talk a little bit about the players. I remember us talking about it when you were in Boulder at camp, and talk to maybe your favorite player in that group and kind of their passion for just playing, I guess.
When I actually went out to Arizona and helped build 2 franchises. The first was FC Arizona, and then which is MPSL, and the second one was a Sporting AZ, which is UPSL. But what I found amazing when I first went to Arizona was the agenda was to find the best local players and then build it out. And I was not too optimistic initially. But I was absolutely shocked how many good players there are in Arizona that are under the radar, and I couldn't believe it. The point is, we had 2 great years there with 2 franchises, and like you say, we beat Phoenix Rising in the Open Cup. But those players that we had, I mean, they could compete in the USL week in, week out. They were superb. And I can't really point anyone out, but we had MLS Cup winners, ex-pros who had played in Puerto Rico, in Costa Rica, Poland. So very, very broad base of players.
Yeah, and at the time, as we're watching it, Jason Green, as he's hanging on to his glory, claimed that he could have probably given you a good 20 minutes up top. Do you think his fitness might have been an issue with that squad?
I think Jason would have been at that time allowed to drive the team coach. That would have been it. I think he'd been optimistic with 20 minutes. So no, that he would have been. He could have made the sandwiches or brought the orange juice at half time.
So it sounds similar to his career when he played for me back in college. So two well-respected coaches with like minds, and they see the same qualities in them. That's awesome. Well, your most recent coaching has been in the Indian Super League with Phil Brown, with a couple squads. Kind of tell us a little bit about the plan moving forward once we kind of get past this COVID-19, hopefully, and kind of what your next steps might be.
Well, we've been out in India for sort of 2 seasons. The first season of Pune was outstanding. We did a great job out there with a very good group of players. And then obviously the franchise was bought out, and it's built similar to the MLS actually, albeit it's only 6 years old. But the franchise moved to Hyderabad to try and build out a bigger fan base. And obviously the season was flawed, and there's some issues with leadership from with it being a new franchise, typical teething stuff. So it wasn't as successful as we would like it to be. So we feel as though we've got a lot of unfinished business to do out in the ISL. The league itself is grown in popularity. I mean, people love soccer in India, and it'd be nice to get back out there once things settle down. So that's the plan. As the staff moving forward, we'd like to get back out there and work at ISL level. It's certainly a very exciting league. They do a great job with the production and the behind the scenes stuff. So we'll see what opens up come July, and look forward to getting back out.
Yeah, and I think obviously we'd love to see you back here in the States. Is there any plans that at some point down the road, there's no exact plan for this coaching, as we all know, but would a dream to be at a high level in the US at some point in your career?
I mean, I wouldn't discount anything, but I've worked at a lot of levels in the US, especially sort of the non-league level, the NPSL, PDL level. I really enjoy that because you're working with players who want to get to pro level, so they're motivated. I've worked at USDA level in the US. I enjoyed that as well. But I think my background and what I've, my time in professional soccer, it suits me more. So I think, we've got work to do in India. Certainly with another franchise, but I would come back to the US if it was the right opportunity. But I think it would be a professional level, because that's what I know and that's what suits me, I think, at the moment.
Yeah. Well, Hayden, we really appreciate you joining the show today and taking the time. Hopefully everything works out well and we're all back to work here soon.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's hope so, and we get back to doing what we do best, and all stay well, and thanks very much.
Okay, thanks, Aidan. Once again, you can follow us all year long, all spring and summer long on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and at cubuffs.com/soccer. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody.